Despite the Republican losses in Congress this month, some people believe President Bush still has time to redeem himself politically. The Center for American Progress proposes that the president has 100 days to tackle issues like national security, immigration reform, removing barriers to economic growth for the middle class, etc. And the group just released its policy agenda today. Joining me now to discuss it, Jennifer Palmieri. She served as Deputy Press Secretary during the Clinton administration and is currently with the Center for American Progress. Jen, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Tucker.
But before we talk about the specifics of this plan, we've got a little breaking political news.
I heard breaking news.
Alcee Hastings of Florida, the former impeached federal judge, has basically pulled
and current member of Congress.
And current member of Congress and a very charming guy, has been pulled from consideration for replacing Jane Harman as head of the Intelligence Committee. By Nancy Pelosi. He issued a statement that ended with, and I'm quoting now, "Sorry, haters, God is not finished with me yet." Alcee Hastings, he's going to be around for a while. What do you make of this disaster?
Well, I think the haters, I'm afraid the haters comment was directed personally at you, Tucker, but
I like Alcee Hastings.
I think the people who predicted that Mrs. Pelosi was going to have a difficult time with the caucus after the leadership battle between Murtha and Hoyer are proven wrong. I mean, this is a very difficult situation for her to maneuver, and I think that she's maneuvered it well. And I think that Jane Harman is going to. She's been very competent on intelligence matters, and that she'll be. Made a tough decision, but one that I think is probably right for the Democratic caucus and, ultimately the Congress.
Well, it's certainly been enjoyable for the rest of us to watch, I must say. Now to your recommendation.
I'm sorry that it ended before December, that she was able to wrap this up.
I feel like my soap opera is over. You know what? She'll provide more fodder, though. I have the feeling. I'm certain of it, actually. Now to your recommendations for the President, Center for American Progress, a center-left think tank here in Washington, proposing all sorts of things that Bush administration ought to do in the first 100 days. Some of them, make sense. Restore military readiness, get better intelligence reports, fix our schools, et cetera, et cetera. We get to number 5, though. Here's a question that kind of popped out at me. Demand Sudan and the violence on Darfur. You're basically suggesting, you Democrats are suggesting, that we send troops, if need be, to a Muslim country, occupy it in order to do good. Doesn't this sort of ignore the lessons we ought to have learned in Iraq over the last 3 years?
Well, we're not suggesting that you start with putting troops into Sudan. But what we're suggesting is that the administration has been very hot and cold on Sudan. They had earlier in the administration, when Zelek was still the Deputy Secretary of State, he spent a lot of time in Sudan, and he was actually able to make some good progress, but then he left, and now there's an envoy over there now. But when Bolton had the chance to weigh in, when the rest of the UN Security Five was meeting in on Darfur in Africa, he took a pass. So what we're saying is that if the U.S. would play a more active, permanent, and consistent role in Darfur, that we think that they would make.
Here's what I'm confused by, though. Here you have North Korea and Iran, both of which threaten the world. Both of those regimes commit human rights atrocities on a far larger scale than anything you've seen.
There's problems all over the world.
Exactly, but those countries threaten our existence and the existence of our allies, such as Israel. But Democrats kind of recoil in horror at the very thought of committing troops to those countries, a military intervention in North Korea or Iran. Why is that?
Well, I think because we don't think it's a smart thing to do. I mean, we don't, North Korea, having military options for North Korea and also for Iran aren't off the table, but are they? Do we think that that's the best way to address conflicts there? No. I mean, is that where we're going to start? We're going to start with armed conflict?
Well, I don't know. It just seems to me that Democrats are much more comfortable with military intervention when it has no obvious strategic value to the United States.
I actually think that's not true. I can see why the stereotype is, but the same people who say Bill Clinton wouldn't go into into Rwanda because of what happened to the U.S. Marines in Somalia, say that Democrats, to the contrary, they're scared to use our power, be it military, diplomatic, and otherwise, to fight genocide. And they said that Clinton wasn't willing to do it in Rwanda.
Oh,
They
no,
said
I
that,
don't,
they
I don't
said
think that at all. I think
No,
Democrats
but
are
I'm not
scared to
saying-
use it when it might benefit us. They're happy.
No, I
Clinton
don't
himself
think
has said,
that-
I wish I'd gone
no.
into Rwanda, as
Right,
if
well,
that
they've
wouldn't have
said
been a
that.
disaster.
Right.
Would have been
But
a
I
disaster.
actually think that in terms of Democrats being concerned, I mean, I think that being concerned about how you use force, the rap over the past 12 years has been that they're scared to say that genocide is a time when we should use force. And we're not saying that we're not recommending force in Darfur. What we're saying is that it's genocide. It's wrong. The president has called it genocide. The United States of America needs to restore its moral authority, and that we should be leading on this. And Bush has done some things that have been good on it, but he hasn't been consistent, and that there is more that the U.S. could do if they would have a little leadership. But military armed conflict isn't the first option in Sudan or Iran or North Korea.
You're not selling me. But I appreciate you're doing a good job. Jennifer Palmieri, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Tucker.
Thank you. So is this